g'day, how you going? What do you know? Don't strike a light. G'day, g'day, and how you going? Just say g'day, 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 and you'll be right.
Welcome to the Midweek End Times News and Trends Briefing as we share major events and what is happening around the world as it relates to Bible prophecy. Today's date is Wednesday, July 5th, 2017. I hope you're all doing great. This update will be very short because I'm in a location where there is no internet and having to rely on my phone data. On the issues of what's developing in the Middle East and the tensions continue to rise. There's an article that popped out of the Ynet News talking about how a projectile from Syria falls inside the Israeli Golan for the 17th time this week. So it happened in the north part of the Israeli Golan Heights on Saturday evening. The 17th such instances this week has spilled over from the civil war in Syria. No one was hurt at this time, but the projectile fell in what is called no man's land between the two borders fences of Syrian and Israeli ones, closer to the Syrian side, and this is the same area where most of the projectiles fell over the past week. Again, the Israeli Defense Forces went to the area to search for the projectile. So the tensions continue to mount over there in the Middle East. On a separate issue, but also still dealing with Syria and keeping a pulse on what is happening and the eventual development of the Isaiah 17, which is the destruction of Damascus. And again, not saying that this is that, but this is the potential, as you're seeing more news reports of what's happening in Damascus, as suicide blasts rockets the heart of Syria's capital. According to this news article, the security forces had chased 3 explosive-laden vehicles through Damascus on Sunday, intercepting 2 of them at checkpoints, but failing to stop the third before exploded at the city center, killing at least 8 people, state media and others reported. It's a rare attack in the heart of Syria's capital, unfolded ahead of the morning commute on the first day after a major Muslim holiday. The Interior Ministry said that the security forces tracked all 3 cars and intercepted 2 of them at checkpoints on the airport road. The third made it into the city center where the driver blew up himself near the square. So let's just continue the destruction of what's happening within Damascus. On to another issue in dealing with Europe. This was an interesting article talking about the president of France, Macron, who declares he will govern like a Roman god. According to Reuters, and also Brett Bart mentions this particular type of article where Emmanuel Macron has declared he will govern France like Jupiter, the Roman king of the gods. Shortly after, officials told the media his thought processes was too complex for journalists to understand. So summoning 900 politicians from the houses of the French parliament to a rare congress at the palace of Louis XV. Such assemblies are usually reserved for times of national crises, but the former banker used this to threaten to overrule lawmakers with a referendum if they try to frustrate the reforms he wishes to impose on the legislator. Reuters reports him as saying that he desires to reign as Jupiterian president, a remote, disfigured, dignified figure like the Roman god of gods who weighs in his rare pronouncements carefully. So it's an article like this that makes you wonder, having a character like this that has his attitude, has the development, what could be a potential candidate for the Antichrist. Not saying that he is, but he's got this sort of attitude that gets your attention. And then lastly, on an economic issue, there's a report that came out of the Institute of International Finance that talks about the global debt has now reached an all-time record high of $217 trillion. $217 trillion. Hard to fathom that much debt globally, but the government's debt, virtually the entire planet, has now become the servants of the global money changers. The politicians, again, they love to borrow money, but over time the government's debt slowly but surely impoverishes a nation. So every nation's got debt, some more than others, and eventually you'll see the bankruptcy of some of those nations, like you've seen what's taken place within Venezuela. Anyways, as the elite gets governments around the globe at an increasing amounts of debts, those governments will raise taxes in order to keep servicing those debts. And in the end, it's all about taking money from the people, transferring it to the government pockets, and taking money from the government pockets and eventually transferring it to the hands of the elite that are running in the world. It's a game that has, again, been going on for many generations. And it's time for people to stop. Enough's enough. The global debts have surged, as we said, a record of $217 trillion in the first quarter of this year. So this is a 327% of the world's economic output, the GDP, reports the Institute of Finance. So the surging debt was driven by the emerging economies, which have increased borrowing $3 trillion to $56 trillion. And so this amounts to 218% of the combined economic output, 5 percentage points greater year on year. So never before in human history has this world been so saturated with such debt. Well, this will eventually lead to another economic collapse. It's just a matter of time before this can happen. On a practical side and on a personal side, we need to be wise. We need to be good stewards with the money that the Lord's entrusted to us. It's biblical to tithe and to give to the Lord's work, first and foremost. It's biblical to save up and invest into our future. But also on a daily basis, we need to be wise in having a budget and living by it. Anyways, I hope you have a wonderful and blessed week. Again, as we say over and over, keep your eyes on Jesus, stay in His Word, continue to pray for one another, pray for the lost, share the gospel with as many people as possible, and pray for this ministry and others like it. And may the Lord radically and outrageously bless you. Until next time, God bless.